would adhere strictly to the rules of the game.
Yeah, and my point is that, all these factors seem to be working very well in Obuasi.
Yes.
So how is Accra?
So we copy what we can, modify what we cannot take wholesale, and we move ahead.
So how have you done it?
Oh, we've intensified supervision. We're trying to put in new ways of effective vigilation and supervision, trying to see how we can run baseline exams to assess our children and then know the way forward.
How rampant is this issue of parents buying exam questions for the awards?
I cannot be specific about numbers, but children are able to... Is
it on the rise?
Yes, it's on the rise. It's on the rise. As to whether they buy the correct material is one.
But how do they get access to these?
Oh, there's so many funny characters around who bandy papers around us the real life questions. At the end of the day, they get misled. Because if you know the game, writing exams and setting exam questions, or what exams council does, they're not known to most people. You must be privileged to know it. It is not easy. Let me say, it is not easy to come by questions lately. Okay. It is not easy. The very moment there's word about a leakage or something, investigations are conducted. If there need be to change the questions, it is done. It's not easy.
Okay, let's come back to you. How should children prepare for exams, by the way?
Okay. Like Ms. Asante said, children are supposed to have a goal in the first place. They are supposed to have a plan. In the long-term planning, they are supposed to schematize what is expected of them. Now, what I don't find our students do is that, when you go to the WAEC office, exam syllabus are being printed for sale. BEC, SSC, they are there in stock for sale. And it gives you an indication of where they will set the question. So within a year, now we will be writing in June. So they have at least 4 months or 3 months barely to prepare for the exam. So we can classify them as approaching. That means they spent a lot of time revising. But any school who have not finished the syllabus now is questionable. And any student who have not finished at least preparing or skimming through or designing a structure, a workable structure that fits in with what WAEC has structured for them, is also in trouble at this time. And that is where, if the exam approaches, they find themselves being stressed out, So after they have a workable timetable, then they choose a conducive or an appropriate learning strategy. There are about 4 kinds of them. The individual, where people who have the capacity to absorb can sit in their comfort zone or in a zone that is private and memorize. You also have some students who cannot learn by that method but can group and dialogue with other students. Such people also use the dialoguing strategy to be learning. So in preparing for exams, apart from the timetable, sticking to plan, there is also a third factor, and I think that is causing the failure. The third factor has got to do with, 1, analyzing the question to understand what is required of you in the first part of the sentence, and secondly, using the appropriate techniques to pass.
Okay, you sound very rosy. What you're saying makes a lot of sense, but I was expecting you to even mention counselors for the children.
Yeah.
Do we have it in our system?
Yes, we have it. We have it.
Are we using them efficiently?
Let me come in. In every education directorate, there's a guidance and counseling unit. In every sub-metro in Accra, there's a guidance and counseling unit.
Are they efficient?
Very well. In every school, there are school coordinators. What they do is they constantly bring the children up as to what to do, what to choose, advise them on methods of teaching, etc. That we very well do have. But my problem is, do the children really appreciate the efforts being put in for them?
How would the children appreciate if we are not orienting them in a direction that will make them appreciate the counselors and the guidance experts?
Teaching is a profession and at the same time a gift. The very good teachers who impart knowledge very well, the children can understand. There are some who are teaching for the sake of employment, they want their daily bread. So definitely you have some who would have a clear impact on the children they counsel. And there are some who would do it like a normal day-to-day activity. But I tell you, in some schools it is working. It's working very well. But you see, the children we have in some of the areas, we are in Accra, but when I talk about urban deprived, some don't seem to understand me. Some don't seem to understand. There are children who come to school without a meal. Without a meal. There are children who will not even have the confidence because of a tattered uniform they even wear. How much more talk about a shoe? Such a child is demoralized from day one in the classroom. Imagine trying to counsel this child. His mind is on, where do I get the next meal? On fishing, when there's bumper fish or whatever it is, some areas in Accra, the children go to the shore. So you can imagine. We have a lot to do.
So it's not just the provision of the units and the personnel in there, but we must address the concerns of the children right from
very
day one.
well. We have
every
to.
aspect
We
of their
have
development.
to.
Yeah.
Parents must be sensitized. I don't know if I should use this word. We say education is free, but education is not totally free. Parents need to provide certain needs, and irresponsible parents would always dwell on the fact that education is free and therefore will quarrel, fight with teachers, head teachers, when their children are asked to provide something, to buy a learning aid or a book or something for them. They'll tell you the government says free exercise books, free textbooks. I hope you understand.
I totally understand,
Yes,
and I am very happy you brought up that
And
point. because
one
it's very
issue,
important.
he talked about syllabus. The exam syllabus is drawn by, the school syllabus is drawn by CRDD, the Curriculum Research Department. Exams Council sets questions based on the syllabus set. There's one notion people have that Exams Council has a different syllabus and CRDD has a different syllabus.
They
My
work
problem is
exactly.
an unprepared child or student or a teacher who hasn't put in his best will always find excuses to dodge poles apart. They are within the same.
And your directorate is aware of this.
Yeah.
How have you kept
We
it?
have prescribed books. We have a unit which goes around. We inspect your system are supposed to have been recommended by CRDD before they go on sale. All these things are in place. They are in place. But then the only thing we might question is their effectiveness when it comes to certain
That was what I was going to ask you. That
When
how
it comes
effective are they?
Some are doing their best. Some are working hard.
But we still have a problem.
Definitely. We can't solve all the
We
problems.
can't have an absolute, of course,
Yes,
system.
yes.
But we can strive, can't we?
Definitely.
But are they striving? Are they working hard?
We are doing something.
Something.
We are doing something. We are trying.
Is that something enough?
If you're looking at the total results, we should do more. But I think we are.
What are the inhibitions?
Teacher motivation. Do we have teachers who chose to be teachers, or we have teachers who are teachers for want of a job? Do we have them? These are the things we put in place. Are they giving all they are promised when they took up employment as teachers? What is a general rapport between teachers?
So the children must suffer. They must pay for
No,
it.
no, they don't pay for it.
Looks like it.
No, it is so. Of course, we all work towards the betterment of the children, but without these things in place, the children obviously will suffer like the grass.
You were busy nodding and actually disagreeing at some point
yeah.
too about the teachers and the supervision role of the directorate.
Yeah. What I can say is that, you see, preparing students for exam, I call it a pyramid. The parents, the units, and then society. You see, where I find problem with
The education authority.
yeah, is that let's compare the situation. Why are the private books that are focused on exams, passing exams, helping students at last hour than the prescribed textbooks. One, you see that.
Note it down, Mr. Asante.
Yeah. you see that there is a striking difference between exams and then continuing with the textbook. You see that in the final year.
But if the education authority has prescribed a book for a certain syllabus or for the syllabi, what rights has anyone got to produce a private copy? If the one responsible for education, for the development of the child is saying this is the prescribed book, why should another one be produced alongside and be used in the classroom?
You see, most authors, we must not forget, are entrepreneurs, and the politicians will say PPP, private public partnership.
I know, but you are saying that the private books are more friendly or help the children more than the prescribed,
because it's exam focused. For them, they passing
but
the
they are
exam.
the drafters of the syllabus.
Yeah, but they also design their books in line
but
with the structure.
You see,
in line with the same structure.
In education, it is knowledge acquisition.
Yeah.
Not only passing exams.
Exactly.
The mission of the service is to help children acquire knowledge and skills for future use.
So it is not based necessarily on passing examination. That's a very good point he's making.
Yeah, but you see, I will ask you a question.
I am not answering questions.
Okay, then I will throw it.
I would understand him in the sense that you need examinations for placement and other areas of
that
employment.
determines
if
the
that
life.
is what his intention is, examination getting into other places. But for us in the education service,
yours is
train
to
the
spread
child
knowledge for the children to acquire knowledge.
To acquire knowledge.
Which is important.
When you acquire the
Yeah,
knowledge,
but
you
the
can
reality-
pass examinations.
You see,
What's
the
the
reality, the reality is that I'm investing in my child from primary 1 up to JHS, 6 years here, 3 years there. Okay, and the person's future is determined by that certificate called exam. The results is going to prove to me, the parent, that I have made a useful investment in my child.
And you think that the syllabus from the education service does not quite place the children in a position to pass the exam?
That's not exactly what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
What I'm saying is that it's not exam focused. That's the final year.
I think I want to disagree with you on this one, because I mean, when you get into, let's take the JHS, I keep saying JSS. You start from day one. From one, the textbooks are from the education service. They have drawn up the syllabus. They've come up with the textbooks, and the textbooks, I must say, are better than the private ones that are being produced.
Some.
Anyway, most of them.
Okay.
Most of the private ones are written by mistakes. Honestly, and it's also sometimes infringing on copyright laws. They just pull out what the education service has certified, has prescribed, and they go and produce theirs. So it is not enough to say that their books are not education focused, exam focused. They are exam focused, but it is the case where some entrepreneurs are taking advantage of the system. True or false?
And the issue is, let me talk about your test.
I'll come to you. True or false?
I can't judge whether it's true or
but
it's
you're
false.
saying that their books are not exam focused.
I'm talking of the final year.
But it's all part of the textbook.
No, you see, the final year is supposed to be a revision year, if you will admit.
Definitely.
It's supposed
We
to
all
be,
agree.
Yes, a revision year. And the textbook that is being used, okay, as the basis of their instruction, might be focusing toward the exam.
Is that not what the books do?
Not really.
Mr. Santi, your books lack
What he wants to talk about is
the requirements for students to
I
write
don't know how to
examination.
put it, but somebody writes a textbook based on past questions. He
That's
has
my
compiled and answered. I don't find that as
That is not creative.
that is not creative. You go to WIC, you buy past questions over a period of time,
And then you
arrange
compile.
them and then you compile.
As a book.
You see,
It's not even fair.
That is a shortcut to passing an exam, but as to whether you gain that knowledge to push you further beyond that first step is another problem. Exams we must pass. We must put in all it takes. Let us complement what we have with the last minute, like you said, the preparation
exactly.
with these books. But to a bit rubbish, our books
Which is not-
run solely during vacation periods. And the teachers can have the full instruction time. And then when we want to impose sanctions on teachers for not doing their work properly,
Do you?
we do.
How often?
Very.
And how
If the head
how,
teachers,
how
if the
has
head
it helped the
teachers,
system?
if the head teachers are bold enough to report them,
Well, sometimes the head teachers are gagged. They don't even talk to the media. They've been gagged by the service.
they are
sometimes.
not. They are not. They've only been told not to answer questions they don't have authority over.
That's a subtle way of putting it, but that's okay. But how has this improved the system? You know, sanctioning teachers and the other.
Well, it's taking out some of the
penalties.
bad nuts.
Okay.
It's taking out some of the bad nuts. Well, others are also being put in line. I mean, for example, if your salary is suspended, to have it reactivated will take you about 5-6 months. And I think if you go through this chain, you'd understand that yes, you need to sit up. If we intensify supervision, if we're up and doing, lately a national inspectorate
If
board
we
has been
intensify supervision, who should intensify this supervision?
We.
It is your directorate.
We.
So you're just sleeping on the job?
formed. No, we should put in more effort. That's it. More effort. If we are using these methods and it's not yielding the maximum results we want,
Reinvent yourselves.
certainly.
Okay. Tell us about your program tomorrow.
Okay, that's in line with the discussion that we've just had. Tomorrow's program is the National BEC WASSCE Pre-Season Clinic. And like we said, it's an intervention to help prepare students, to face the impending WASSCE and BEC exam with ultimate confidence. We must say that it's being designed by VIA Communications and International Network for Technology in Education in collaboration with Ghana Education Service. on some
Absolutely.
pro-
He's
and-
forgiven you. Don't
yeah.
worry, you're pardoned.
So Accra is the maiden edition, and that is tomorrow at the National Theatre.
It's a fantastic thing
Yeah,
you're doing.
yeah.
I think
It's-
it's
yeah.
good to prepare children for exam
Yeah.
because it's not good enough to leave them on their own.
Yeah.
They need the guidance. And we hope that the guidance and counseling units of the Education Directorate will be up and doing.
Yeah.
Mr. Asante?
Yeah,
So if
They will be up and doing.
certainly. If resources are adequate, resources are pumped in.
We like to blame.
I'm not shifting blame.
That's
I'm only
all.
telling you reality. That's all.
All right.
So the dates, Kumasi will be on the 8th to 9th April, and then Accra is starting tomorrow. We use the opportunity.
8th to 9th of April.
April, Kumasi,
Okay.
and then Accra is just tomorrow at the National Theatre Main Auditorium.
Oh.
So far, about 1,000 students from different schools have signed up,
Okay.
and we invite the rest.
Thank
of
you. I'm
students
afraid I have to
watching
leave
us.
it here. Thanks for your time. Kwesi Asante, Deputy Director in charge of Education. We hope that your department will work harder than you are. We want to see more success. It's not enough to tell us that the children are failing more these days. It is your responsibility to ensure that we have a good success rate.